What's up, Pokemaniacs? I am the Online Orphan, and I am your analyst for Season 2 of the Pokemon Uber League, PUL, and we are back for yet another week of Power Rankings. That's right, we are here for the Week 5 Power Rankings, and if you are excited, hit that like button down below and subscribe for all of our great Draft League content. But we are going to go over all 20 teams in this awesome league, ranking them from 20 to 1, and we will be happy that you are here with us. So let's go ahead and jump right into the bottom 5, as we are going to be starting out at number 20 with the Albany Dragonites. Not much to say here. The 0-5 record, and they unfortunately had a forfeit loss in Week 5, so really nothing to go over, and unfortunately their record remains the worst at this point. In the number 19 spot this week, however, is going to be the Southern Blazikens. The Southern Blazikens now with a 1-4 record, dropping one spot from last week, and they ended up losing in a 6-0 sweep. And it really came down to allowing the opponent's Scizor to set up and finish off the game, and it really appeared as though the Lugia set didn't make sense for this battle. It certainly could take a couple of hits, of course, as Lugia is incredibly bulky with access to Roost, but really didn't have the right offensive moves to try and hit the Pokemon that were coming in on it. So getting 6-0'd, dropping one spot this week. Next up in the number 18 spot is the Brighton Bulldoors. The Brighton Bulldoors now with a 1-4 record, and the Brighton Bulldoors are actually moving up one spot this week despite a 2-0 loss. They did miss a seemingly critical high jump kick, which was unfortunate, but in the end they were just not able to break through the opponent's Milotic. So a nice effort from the Brighton Bulldoors. Hopefully they can keep that momentum going in the right direction. Next up in the number 17 spot, we have the Seattle Slowpokes. The Seattle Slowpokes with the 1-4 record, dropping two spots this week as they take a 4-0 loss to their opponent. And when it comes to their opponent seemingly having the same issues as every coach, they are just unable to break through their walls, really having issues breaking down the Porygon 2, and the Toxapex was very difficult for the Seattle Slowpokes, and unfortunately just did not have a good answer to them. But up next in the number 16 spot is going to be the Umende Explouds, staying exactly where they were last week in that 16 spot with the 1-4 record and taking a 2-0 loss this week. Certainly a nice Mega Glalie set this week. Really seemed to pair well against the opponent's team, but it seemed as though they had a difficult time dealing with the rest of the opponent, allowing the Cobalion to pretty much come in and have its way every time it came in. And then, of course, the Yveltal just doing really great work against them as always. So the Umende Explouds unable to move this week. Alright, and jumping into the next set of 5 here, we'll be starting at the number 15 spot with the Cardwell Colossals. Now with the 2-3 record, the Cardwell Colossals are dropping 3 spots this week after taking a 3-0 loss. They certainly had solid coverage in this match when it came to their Pokemon and their move sets, but it really added up that they were unable to remove the hazards on their side of the field, chipping away at the opponent and just funny enough, unable to break through a Sliggoo. So the Cardwell Colossals dropping a couple of spaces here in the power rankings. And next up, in the number 14 spot, representing my home state, the Maine Red Clowitzers, now with the 2-3 record, taking a big 5-spot drop this week, losing 1-0 this week, so certainly a close game. Did have a couple of misses that may have changed the outcome of the battle. And what was strange to me was the Magearna set for the Clowitzers this week, not covering the Aura Sphere. So really interested in what the prep was for this match, as it really could have made a difference. But up next in the number 13 spot was their opponent for this week in the Melbourne Staryous. The Melbourne Staryous taking that 1-0 victory, now with a 2-3 record, moving up 4 spaces this week. Certainly a solid Arcanine set this week, and they were able to pull themselves back from being down early on in the match. So well played by the Melbourne Staryous. Again, did catch a little bit of luck from a few misses, but able to beat out the Red Clowitzers this week. And coming in at the number 12 spot this week, going to be the Jacksonville Jolteons. The Jacksonville Jolteon now with the 2-3 record, moving up 2 spaces this week with a 2-0 victory, and really mounting what was seemingly a huge comeback and saving the Lele until the end of the match, doing very well in the end game, securing their victory. Coming in at the number 11 spot, falling just out of the top 10 this week, is the Black City Bisharps. The Black City Bisharps with the 2-3 record, losing 1-0 this week. And their mascot was certainly key in this battle, doing a lot of work against the opponent, but was just, in the end, not able to complete the victory. So a well-played battle, and certainly could have gone either way, but Black City Bisharps just dropping out of the top 10 this week. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into our top 10, as we're going to be starting with the Cleveland Crobats. The Cleveland Crobats now with a 3-2 record, moving up 3 spaces into the top 10 and securing a 4-0 victory this week against last week's number 1 team. They did have some hacks during their match, as the Ditto transformed into the Shaman Sky and was able to secure them the victory with some air slash shenanigans. But overall, well played by the Cleveland Crobats. I believe there was also only a 1-turn sleep on Mega Aggron, so dealt with that fairly well. But again, great Ditto play, getting into that Shaman, allowing them to just finish off the opposing team. Next up in the number 9 spot is the Montreal Canadienses with the 3-2 record, taking a 1-0 victory this week and moving up 2 spots into the top 10. The Duskmane Necrozma and the Gyarados were really solid in this matchup, working out very well, handling the Bisharp as best it could, but really the setup from the Mons worked out in their favor, and overall just solid gameplay from the Montreal Canadienses. In the number 8 spot this week is going to be the Blazing Infernape. The Blazing Infernape now with a 3-2 record, taking a loss this week, 2-0, and therefore dropping 6 spaces this week, they certainly had some good play in the beginning, utilizing Lunala in the Psychic terrain. However, there were a few priority moves that were clicked while the Psychic terrain was up, so I don't know what the thought process was there. And they did also have a few miss/crits that tended to shift the luck in their favor, but still ended up taking the loss there and falling a significant amount. Of course, they can always turn this around given their fantastic team. Next up in the number 7 spot is the Crazy Kermit Club. And again, this is the battle which we have nothing to talk about because they took a forfeit win and are now 4-1 overall in this season. So not going to move up or down, of course, with no battle to judge here. Next up, in the number 6 spot this week, the Lexington Leafeons continuing their movement now with a 3-2 record, moving up 2 spaces this week with a 2-0 victory. The haze on the Milotic was certainly clutch and a nice bring this week, and that Arceus really just allowing him to dominate the play throughout the battle, really seemingly just having no time coming in and clicking moves and destroying lives. So Lexington Leafeons just missing out on the top 5 here, but continuing their upward movement. And so with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the top 5 now in the power rankings after the week 5 battles. And we are starting out at that number 5 spot with last week's number 1, the Calverton Kinglers, dropping 4 spaces after a 4-0 loss, and now with the 4-1 record. Again, this is the battle we talked about with the Ditto transforming into the Shaman Sky, so they did have a few flinch hacks from that Ditto, preventing them from doing too much. However, this is the game that we play, and unfortunately, if you are bringing Air Slash on one of your Pokemon and your opponent has a Ditto, you can expect yourself to be Air Slashed. So, dropping a few spaces here, but still a top 5 team based on their performance so far this season. Next up in the number 4 spot this week, the Haxo Haldarin, moving up 2 spaces into the top 5 with the 4-1 record, winning their match 4-0 with a nice Porygon 2-set, with the opponent just unable to break through them. And the hazards, the T-Spikes, very helpful on the opponent's side of the field, allowing them to deal the necessary damage they needed to finish off all of the opponent's Pokemon. Jumping into the number 3 spot this week and finally getting out of the number 5 spot. So moving up 2 spaces is the Wellington Ho-Oh. The Wellington Ho-Oh with the 4-1 record now, winning their match 3-0 by hazard stacking and having a fantastic Sliggoo, able to come in and just take hits for days, taking nearly no damage from the Kyogre. Hydration in the rain, really well prepped. That Sliggoo set did some fantastic things for the Wellington Ho-Oh this week, and again, the hazard stacking allowed them to completely obliterate the opponent's team, so well done by the Wellington Ho-Oh. In the number 2 spot this week is the Boston Celebi, climbing back up 1 space here with the 4-1 record and a 2-0 victory this week. The Great Empoleon set with the Weakness Policy Agility, able to catch the opponent off guard. And then, of course, the Cobalion just putting in the offensive pressure against the opponent, doing really well this week and continuing their dominance in the league so far. But coming in at the number 1 spot this week is going to be the Warsaw Weaviles. The Warsaw Weavile now with the 4-1 record, moving 3 spaces up into that number 1 spot, completing a 6-0 sweep of the opponent, pivoting perfectly in this matchup in my opinion, setting up with Scizor at exactly the right time, and really just dominating the opponent, keeping them on the back foot for most of this battle. So that is going to be our power rankings for week 5 of the Pokemon Uber League. And guys, like I said earlier, show your love on that like button down below and subscribe for our Draft League content. Check out the links in the description where you can find our coaches along with myself. And once again, I am the Online Orphan, and I am signing out.